Good evening, everyone. Welcome again to day 3 of Arc Graphics Academy. I'm so happy and glad to have you here. Embark on your journey on creativity and imaginations. I would love to have you here. Kindly drop your best emoji for online recognition and online presence. Kindly drop your best emoji for online presence. Hello everyone, good day, good evening. Kindly drop your best emoji for recognition and online presence. So we are going to be starting with the preview of what we had in the last class. For people that were not able to come online, for people that were not able to watch the YouTube video for the last class, this is just a brief preview just to carry you all along. Likewise, this is not an advantage for you to leave the previous video. Kindly go back and engage, share, like and subscribe, and click on your notification button for more updates. So yesterday we discussed about what is design, the types of design. We discussed about who is a graphic designer, and this is just a brief explanation of what we did in yesterday's class. What is graphic design is just termed as a simple component which comprises of visual components. There are combinations of components which comprises of visual components, color, shapes and text, so as to bring out the concept, a beautiful concept which use and helps to serve purpose. So you know that design is for a purpose, and you are designing something so as to communicate. So a graphic design is a creative field, a creative field that involves the art and science of using visual components, likewise colors, visual components like typography, visual components like shapes, so as to pass out an information, an idea, or to give a meaning to specific terms. So who is a designer? We learned yesterday that a designer is someone that is skilled and knows how to incorporate these components to a better and meaningful meaning, to incorporate the color, shapes, typography and other components so as to bring out a beautiful concept that will serve purpose and to achieve the goal for the users. So, and I said yesterday that designing is for the users, and anytime we are designing, we must understand that we are designing for them and we are not designing for our personal sake. So the goal of contention is what will suit them and what they love. So also yesterday we learned about the types of designs, which the types of designs that we learned yesterday. We have the motion designs, the packaging designs, we have the advertising designs. We also learned about brand identity designs, we learned about logo designs, and to also add it, we learned about visual designs, yes, and also illustrative designs. And we we did extensive study. If you study the video of yesterday, you notice that we did extensive study on those type of designs. So kindly engage by going back to the previous video to check out these definitions and check out how we explained it. So today, in today's course, we are going to be learning briefly on the history of design, and we are going to be talking in depth of the terminologies in design and the design principle. So we have a template in which we are going to be using for this course, so as to give you reference to icons and images in which you can easily play with and easily understand. As I said yesterday, design is not just a specific typography, it's not just colors, it's not just shape. Design is the combination of shapes, images, colors and typography. So in this sense, it means that we can pass out a message not just with typography alone, by people reading what you are writing. We can pass out message by colors, we can pass out message by images, we can pass out messages by icons. So in today's course, we are going to be looking at a PDF which is compiled by a professional team like ours, and in this PDF is going to give us an outlook on the in-depth meaning on the principles of design, where they get to list the important and the most necessary things we need to know as pertains principles of designs. So we are starting with the history of design to start with. We are starting with the history of design to start with. The history of design can be traced back to the pre-printing stage, the 15th century stage, can be also traced back to the printing stage, can be traced back to this stage. We notice that people don't use technologies, they get to use symbols, they get to use visual symbols, like they get to use their hand, their other visual components which is not related to digital technology. So in this stage, we see people that they are more acquainted to using symbols in which you can easily interact with, and early human beings, they create these symbols and images so as to pass out or communicate some informations. So they create these images to pass out and communicate informations. As you can see, this is the revolution of graphic design, and this PDF is compiled by Hark team. So that's just a credit about that. And the first one is the pre-printing era. Just running briefly with that, it says originating in ancient time, early human manually created symbols and images on surface. So briefly, just what you need to get in this thing is that you need to understand that in this pre-printing era, what they do mostly is that they use human symbols, because there is no advancement in technology which can accommodate the kind of designs in which we are doing today. Then the next one is we have the printing era. The printing era is in the 15th century. If you go back to the 1st century, we notice that that is the pre-15th century, but this one is the 15th century. And in this century, we understand that people use more of plastic or wooden materials so as to pass out information and so as to write some things down. So they do more of, as it says printing press revolutionized graphic designs by enabling mass promotion using movable types and fonts. So it means that in this era, what they do more of is that they use movable types and fonts so as to pass out information. There is not advancement in image, there is no advancement in colors, but what they do more in this era is that they use fonts and they use it to carry out more information. So if we move to the third type of the design, we have the Renaissance. We have the Renaissance century, which is from the 14th to the 15th. This period, what they do more is, I'll just be tipping it so as not to use much of our time. This period, what they did more is that they advanced in their typography, bringing out some scripts, some, let's say, some fonts, some designs, and it's an advancement in some designs that, design then was more complex. It's now that we are trying to improve design by making it more simple. Then they advance the design, and what they do more in this century is that they produce complex designs with combinations of text and icons just to represent the design, what is in their art. So as he said this period removed classical art and introduced advancement in typography. As I was saying, yes, and structured book design. So we are going to be moving to the fourth one. I don't want us to spend more time on the issue of design. The industrial design, this is more of when they started the large printer. So they started using the large printer so as to communicate or to print things. In this revolution, we notice that technology has been invading the space of the world, and people are already getting advanced in some sense of technology as related to design and as design is concerned. So many people have been using this big printing press just to print out what they have in mind. So I'm going to be moving to the fourth type of design. I'm going to be moving to the fifth. Yes, the fifth is called the art novel. So the art novel is characterized by orient and organic forms and decorative typography impacting poster art. So this place, we notice that cities and country have been trying to incorporate design to their society, and in this way what they are doing is that they are trying to bring out the art of design in the community, in the society. They are trying to bring out the art of design in the society by making things beautiful and making it more enhanced. So you can see in this place that even the city now, what they do physically, their physical structures, their streets, their buildings are more of a typical design type and more of a complex design structure in this particular area. Then we are going to be moving to the sixth evolution type of design. The sixth type, we have the bowers. This more of simplicity, and what they use best is they work on their grid based design. So grid means getting angles so as to lead you and to guide you on every step in which you are going to use in your graphic design. So this grid means that you are trying to avoid errors, and then in order to avoid errors, what you do is that you create a structure, a lined out structure, either vertically or horizontally, so as to guide you on every position you are going to place in your design. So if you notice these kind of designs, they are structured, they are grid type of design, and what they work more on the hierarchy, the alignment, and the placement of either their fonts or their icons. So this place, what they do more is they make a perfect design that is accurate. They don't just work on any kind of design. What they do more is that they make a grid for all their designs, because in this stage they get to learn about grid and they know the importance of grid to their design, so they implemented it very importantly in this stage. Then in the seventh revolution design, you have the modernism. Is the modernism revolution, which is the early 20th century. You notice that this 20th century, people are already getting advanced in technology, and also they are also getting advanced in creativity. The more we come into the new age, the more creativity evolves. If we move past this age and we are trying to picture how 2600 will be, we are going to see that if there is still chance in 2600 to exist, notice that many people will have advanced more in age. As age is advancing, the taste and the creativity in design is advancing. There was a stage that there was nothing like NFT. There was a stage that there was nothing like animations, 3D art. There was a stage that there was nothing like such. But the more we advance, the more we explore the potential in graphic design. And trust me, this will never end. There is no way I expect this advancement to end, because every time we move into a new era, and this new era brings in a new civilization that will increase our knowledge base on how we can still create and we can still imagine designs. So the more in the advancement from the 15th century to the 20th century, you know that from 15th century to the 20th century there have been a great advancement in technology and also in design. So technology in a way has greatly influenced creativity and design as a whole. And the last evolution design, I think, is the 21st century, which is the eighth one, which is the mid 20th century, is the post-war graphic designs. So rapid growth, especially in USA, with corporate branding gaining prominence. So we notice that people in advanced country, as I said in the second class, they want to start building their companies and they need brand identity for their designs. So this doesn't incorporate only visual designs, because in the other centuries you notice that what they do more is that they focus more on visual designs. They focus more on designs that you can only see and designs that can only just be designed. So these people move more to creating brands, designing on other on other platform, not just digital things that you can see. They get to design maybe on poster walls, they get to design on 3D, they get to design on other things, just to incorporate the brand spirit. Then also we are going to be checking the ninth type of evolution design, which is the digital evolution, which is the late 20th century. So this one, computers and desktop publishing transformed graphic design, making digital creation and distribution accessible. So it means that you can no longer, it's not just a civilization where you get to design and just to see what you design and not just to collect it as a digital copy. It is to a stage that then they begin to create more of A4 papers, A3 papers, where you get to they print on the printers, they print using printers what they've designed on the computer. So in this stage you get to notice that they create more on DIs, which is the direct image system. They use direct image system, they use other systems so as to bring out the hard copy, likewise the soft copy with computers. So this stage has a great and also has a significant role to play in the evolution type of design, because people don't just get to see their designs only, but they get to feel, touch, and they get to see the exact intent of their design. If they are working on a 3D design or a 3D printing now, they get to see what they need and they get to touch it, they get to bring it into life. So design do not just stay in a stage where you get to see it as a person, but you get to bring the design in your mind, bring the design you've achieved or you've done to life, then bring it to reality. Then we have the 10th one, which is the contemporary graphic design, which is the 21st century. Contemporary graphic design, this more of it is classified and it is characterized by diverse styles, introducing retro and digital designs fueled by internet and social media reach and influence. So this type of designs, they use more of posting designs on social medias, doing advertisement designs, so people get to know them, people get to see what they are advertising, people get to know what they have for their products. And so far, from the 15th century down to this century, we notice that the design journey and design activities have actually been great. From the stage in which they use symbols, likewise, and likewise icons, to the stage in which they use their environment to create a design, from the stage in which they use grid based system, from to the stage in which they use the computers and they use printers to print their designs, has actually been a great journey through the design evolution. So briefly, this is just to show us how design as a whole has actually helped us and how it's still going to help us, because I believe that there is still more to uncover in the area of design, and every year, every century, we get tons of important things that we get to uncover as design is concerned. So briefly, this is just the evolution and the history of how graphic design started. So in few minutes, what we do tonight is that we are going to learn the principles of design, and we are going to pick the important terminologies in this principle of design. So in a way, you get to know these terminologies and know how to use them appropriately. So now we are starting with they compare the design to a music. And it's natural. We naturally enjoy it comprehensively. We relash the quality of sound and music generally, and that's it. So what they mean here is that design is like music. Design can be enjoyed. If you are a good designer, that's why we need a seasoned designer, so as to bring out the creativity and so as to bring out the quality in the design. Because we can hear bad music and we can hear good music, as music is classified into bad music and good music. Depending on how comprehensive the music is, we determine how sweet you will be able to hear it. So you might be hearing some music that it will just be a noise to your ear because it's not really comprehensive, and the quality of sound, the quality of bass, and the quality, maybe the frequency, another component that makes up a good design, a good music, is not in the music. So this shows that to achieve a good design specifically, you need to accumulate all these qualities which takes the design principles, the design elements, and also other important things that you need for your design. Then we are moving to the next row, which is the music is composed. Remember that good music has a lot of layers and different sounds harmoniously put together in such a manner that we forget the individual sound layer. So you notice that all music, we listen to music every time, and in some way we get to notice that if the music has a great sound, if the music is really structured and put together in a way that is good, it will reach a stage in which you even forget about the way the music is flowing. Then unconsciously you are carried away by what you hear, and you are moved, you are impressed by what the person is singing or the person is saying. In short, to move into the principles of design, we must be able to picture the fact that a graphic design is like a music, and when you are designing, you must understand that it must be a good design. It must be seasoned with good and important things, so as to bring out the best thing, the best quality of sounds in the design in which you are making, the best quality of sounds in the music you are making. So depending on the quality of sound, we determine the quality of the music that you are going to hear, and the quality of the music also will determine how people will engage with your design and how they will be impressed about your design. Guide life as a whole. There are many principles that guide life, and if we don't understand the principles of life, the basic principles of life, we tend to die easily. Yes. So in this sense, we need to understand the principles that culture, the principles that guide design as a whole, so as not to make some important and basic mistake that will rupture the whole thing you have been designing. And if you understand this, it will lead to a great enhancement and improvement in your design journey. So the first principle of design we are going to be studying is harmony. The first principle of design we are going to be studying is harmony. So let us see graphically and iconical with the icons how it look. Harmony and unity, they have similar, and they are together. You can also say harmony and you can call it unity. Harmony and unity, they are the principles of design. It is the first principle of design which I will discuss with, and you need to be conscious. You need to understand this principle, as it has three major types, which deals with the proximity, the continuation, and the similarities. So in this harmony, we get to see how things can be arranged in a way that will make sense, how they can be arranged in a way that you will follow the principle in which you need to arrange them. It needs to have harmony, and when they are talking about harmony, it needs to be united. Let me bring it out in a more simpler form. It needs to be coordinated. Your design ought to be coordinated and not scattered designs, and not designs that don't have the head and tail. And that's why we'll be talking on harmony as the first point. So we will see proximity now. Proximity is the way in which to start with, you can see the distance from the round icons. The distance from the round icons can be determined with proximity. And whenever you are designing your design, whenever you are doing a design, you need to understand that in any way you want to do your design, it needs to be you need to follow the principle of proximity. Let me give you an example now. Maybe you have pictures in which you need to display, and you have 4 pictures in which you need to display. You must be able to position and place your picture in a way that we follow the law and principle of proximity. It means that the distance between these elements must be accurate. The distance between the two elements must be accurate, and they must not really be in a form. They must not be in a form of I think this thing is lagging. There must not be a form in which the distance will not be accurate. The distance must be accurate in anything. Either you are going to be positioning a typeface over an image. There must be the law of proximity in everything you are going to do in design, so as to make everything united and to be in harmony. And definitely it's very obvious to notice any design that is not in harmony. So let's say you are adding a text and a color and an image. There's a way you will need to arrange them in a hierarchy of proximity that will lead to the balance. You must understand that your design must be balanced. And if you are talking about making a balanced design, it means that your design must in every way have that distance that is accurate. Then we move to the second type of unity and harmony principle of design, which is the continuation principle. This continuation principle deals with creating a design that doesn't have negative space. It means that there is a way in which you will design that you will have to leave so much space that will lead to the disorganizing or disarrangement of your elements. In this principle, you must understand that the continuation must be there. If you are trying to type something and you notice that the typeface in which you are using is of such that cannot really serve purpose or is not lengthy, there's a way in which you need to rearrange your design and to notice that there's a problem in the unity and arrangement of your design, so as to change the typeface in which you are using. Sometimes you need to use a tall font, sometimes you need to use a straight font, so as to make sure that there is still harmony in the distance, there's still harmony in the length of all your positions, in the positioning of your elements. You need to understand that there is no way that at least you are going to be designing a text on an image, and the text and the image will not be in alignment, and the text and the image will not lead to another. You must understand that in this continuation principle, you must balance your design in a way that it must have the sense of lines or pattern extended. In a way, you might have a text that is longer than the image in which you want to put. You might have a shape. You will understand this more if we move into practical, but to understand the basic theory, you need to know that you might have three different visual components that they are not on the same space. How then can you incorporate these three together so as to make meaningful, and so as to make a tangible meaning, a tangible concept? Is you using the sense and the rule of continuation, whereby you get to add these designs and balance them together so as to meet the demand, so as to meet the need. They are also going to move into the similarities. We get to understand that there are many things in design that might look similar. There's a way in which you are going to be designing, let's say a flyer design now, and then the things you can place together are limited. You cannot just place anything together. You cannot place the picture of the, let's say, the minister or the person in charge. You cannot place the picture over the logo of the church. You need to understand that these things work hand in hand. There must be similarities in how you place your font, how you place your element. There must be similarities in how you place your visual component. I used to see some bad designs in which people get to place some designs over other designs, and I noticed that part of the things in which they lack the rules of the similarity, and they lack the rules of the similarity in design. Because if they understand fully this similarity, they will get to know that designs must actually be similar to each other. You cannot just place things that are not similar to each other. You cannot just place images that are not similar to each other. You cannot just place text which that are not similar to each other. And then we are also going to be moving into the balance principle. We notice that as for a graphic designer, you need to be able to balance everything you are designing, and this also in a way is related to the harmony, and related to unity. In this way, we understand that we have the symmetry balance, which is elements on either side of the axis are arranged similarly. Let me tell you something. There's a way in which we design a concept in which the element in which the user is providing you is not in any way related. It's not in any way related, but it takes this law of the symmetry rules and principles of design so as to bring this element together and bring them on the same axis, where you get to bring them and to organize them to form a balance. So it will not be like you are putting let's say you are putting a icon on this side, and you are not balancing it with another icon that resemble each other. There's a way in which you can design that the image and the text will not be on the same axis. They will not be on the same axis, and they are needed to be on the same axis. In this way, we understand that this designer or the person in design lacks the sense of the symmetry balance principle. The symmetry balance principle deals more on the way you can arrange the elements on either side so as to bring up a design. You cannot just be designing something that will be in a way half baked. You cannot be designing something that will be in a way half baked, and this means that every icons that are similar to each other must balance. Let's say you are designing a design and you need to do more of a church poster. Now let us take church poster to an example, and you have a list of ministers that are ministering in the church posters. So this this rules of the symmetry principle of design means that all these ministers, they are the same, they are under the same canopy, and there is no way in which these ministers must not balance. So there is a way in which we bring these ministers together that they must balance each other in any way you are going to do it. For the fact that everything is coupled in the same canopy, they must balance each other. For the reason why a logo is coupled with the logo name, there must be a balance in the two. It might not really be an icon to an icon, it might not really be an image to an image, it might be an image to a picture. There must be balance, and this is called symmetry balance. It must balance with the two because they are of the same group, they are of the same elements. We are going to be moving to the asymmetry principle. I think the symmetry principle is just like the symmetry principle, but this just deals with other components of designs, other components of designs that are not really related. They are not really related. So I was giving an example, and I will continue with the example I was giving. I was giving an example on the church flyer, and I was saying that the symmetry balancing means that in a way in which you are going to be designing the ministers that will come for the program, there must be accuracy and there must be balance in every of those ministers, either from the pictures or the text in which you are going to use. There must be balance. They all must be balanced together. Then asymmetry design principle moves further to explain that there is a way in which you are going to be designing a full design, that even when that ministers and the people coming is already balanced, then you ought to also balance other things that will be on the designs, just like the logo and the logo name, just like the theme of what they have and other things. You need to balance it, and you need to put them in the right position, regardless of the fact that even they are not in the same canopy. If you group all the canopies together, because this is just the best way to understand it. It's like the symmetry is a canopy that, the canopy is for younger children, then there's another canopy for adults, there's another canopy for teenagers. So it's the symmetry, the combinations of many other symmetries will lead to the asymmetry principle of design, because in this sense it will incorporate other designs so as to balance everything. You've started from the simplest balancing, and I said simple design, complex designs are the combinations of simple designs. So when you keep on balancing the symmetry designs, which are the designs that relate to each other, you will have to balance everything together as a whole. Then let us look at the third type of balancing, which is the radical principle of design. It means that elements are arranged around a circular form. In this principle of design, it means that there is some time in which you will have to create a concept which is in a form of a radical form. There is a way in which you have to do these things that they must balance in length, breadth, vertically, either vertically or horizontally. There must be a balance in the kind of design that will come from a radical concept. So if you are designing with a radical concept, you must understand that you need to design this thing in a way that will incorporate the overall radical concept. And with this, I hope and I know that you ought to have understand the balance and also the first type of design, which is the unity and the harmony type of design. Yes. So we are going to be moving to hierarchy. The principles of design are so interjoined that you need to understand everything as a whole. But you cannot understand everything as a whole unless you break it down into simple minutes. So as I spoke in the first principle, I said that it is with the unity and harmony. And the unity and harmony is when when you bring other things together in a way that is continuous, so that there will not be negative space, there will not be space that is not needed, there will not be space that cannot be occupied with important and meaningful information, you need to understand that in a way you must design your graphic design. You must bring out your concept in a way that it must be united. At least one thing must be leading to another. You cannot be designing for a church and sorry to say, you will be using a tea company, or you'll be using a traditional background, you'll be using a traditional concept. If in any way the church is going to be doing a traditional service, it must mean that you are going to be using a traditional concept in form of a church design. So that's what it means by you bringing unity to the design. The logo, the theme, the present must be united together. You cannot have a theme of growth and you'll be using another design that is about voice. These two things are not related. These two things are not in unity. In any way you are going to be designing, it must be united. If you notice, the design that was made for this flyer was not a design for a church program, was not a design relating to a traditional program, was a design that is relating to a design challenge, a graphic design environment. And in this way, it will bring out the unity in the design, because people will get to view it as a creative space. They will not just view it in a way that, oh, this design looks like a church design, this design looks like a church design. The concept must be there, the meaning must be there, and it must be united. And also the balancing, as I said in the second part, is sure as to balance everything and to bring it out in a way that there will be no errors in the alignment. Then also we are moving to the alignment. The alignment deals with the trees, the alignment deals with the trees, the nest, the weight. And briefly, I will not really be emphasizing on the PDF here. I will just be explaining how these things are. Is hierarchy. I'm very sorry, is the hierarchy. So this hierarchy, this more of in a way in which you are going to be designing from the motherboard, the mother text to the parents, the children text. I'll just use this to explain this so I will understand in a very low concept. There is the mother text and there is the children's text. So you cannot in any way try to place an important text lower than a less important text. Let us take an example of a creative design. Let's say we have an organization that wants to carry out an orientation for us. What will be more prominent in the design will be the talk of the orientation. What will be more prominent in the designs will be in the talk of the illustration, what's more prominent in the designs will be the talk of the orientation in which they want to do. It will not be maybe when the class will be holding, or the amount they are going to be using for the class, or maybe the date. Other things will come in line when your user notice that, okay, this thing is for me. And that's where the hierarchy comes in. The hierarchy is the way you place things in sense of uniqueness, in sense of respect. So as a graphic designer that understands the principle of design, you must in any way you must not place an important text to be a less important text, and in any way you must not place a less important text to become an important text, because what will happen is that it will lead to a misinformation. People will be getting what they need less, because what we really need to see is not visible to us. What is visible to us is what we don't really need, and people will not get the concept in which you are trying to bring out. Let's look at the trees hierarchy. The trees hierarchy is the elements arranged in the order of a tree, like a trunk, branches and sub branches. That's what I said. Is a way in which you arrange everything in step of the mother to the child, or the mother to the son or daughter, the mother to the child view, and everything must act in line. If you are having a design, you must understand that those texts, because more of hierarchy talks more of text, it talks more of typeface. So you need to understand that more of the text, more of the font in which you are going to be used must follow in order of hierarchy, and we are going to move into the third principle of design, which is the scale and proportion. Scaling and proportion. In this scaling and proportion, this is the size, the ratio, and the division. So this size deals with it's also like hierarchy, but in this sense you get to understand that the size and proportion in which you need for your project is very, very important. They cannot be needing a flyer designer and then you are going to be designing with the orientation and proportion of a social media design. What I mean is that the size, the shape of how it's going to be, at least an A4 paper is different from a A5 paper. So this the way you get the specific orientation, the way you get the specific scale and proportion of your design is very important, because there's different scale and proportion for different type of designs. Designs are not just the same. Designs are not just brought up on the same ratio. There are designs that are for just for posting on social medias, and those designs can be achieved just by using a square. There are designs that can be achieved by using rectangle shapes. Just to understand in the simplest form, design can be achieved just by using a landscape shape. So you need to understand that these sizes must act in line with the type of design which you are doing, and the ratio here are elements related to each other's in visual harmony. So you notice that this thing is actually linking us back to what you've learned before. The ratio is the element related to each other in the ratio is an element related to each other in a ratio appear together in visual harmonies. This is a sense that is showing us that in everything we are going to do in this ratio element of designs, compared to the scale and proportions, it needs to be put in a way in which is harmony. It's harmonized. It ought to have an harmony form, because there is no way you are going to be designing a concept. This is a particular concept of designs, and the concept is maybe they are typing out a word, they are typing out a shape or a text on top, they are typing out another one in this size, in this shape, in this scale, they are typing out another one just as a small thing in the middle, they are typing out another one as the smaller aspect. There's hierarchy here, there's scale and proportion here, there's harmony, and there's also balance. So if we look at this particular concept, we get to relate other components and other principles of design together, because they are interjoined and interdependent. Then we have the fourth principle of design. The fourth principle of design deals with the dominance. The dominance type of design works more on what is dominating the design which you are doing, what is going to be prominent in the design, which one will be the focal point, which one will be the ball of contention. And if you understand what I'm trying to say, you notice that this is also related to hierarchy, because in a way hierarchy is a placing of typeface in the way, or the importance, with the importance and the way it's going to serve purpose. This dominance as a principle of design is a way in which you are going to design a design whereby you will bring more portion of the design, as this portion is dominating other kinds of design. There's a way in which you are going to design a concept in which there will be hierarchy, there will be a sense of this thing is dominating other kind of design. And we have the highlights, breaking the visual hierarchy using form to lay emphasis. So now we have every other thing to start with. Maybe we have every other text, or maybe we have every other shapes as a square, as I use the ministry or the church flyer as an example. Maybe we have church flyer now, and we have ministers listed on it. There's a way in which you are going to show the dominant and the most important minister, and we also balance the other minister. This is what this place is talking about. That, and even if you have the hierarchy, there must be a sense of dominance in which you are going to place one as priority over the other. You are going to place one as priority over the other, regardless of the color. The color must, there is a color that will dominate the whole design. There's a color in design, in every design, that must dominate the other design. There must be a primary color in the designs, and there must be maybe the secondary colors in which you use in the design. It will be your design, green will be the most prominent and the dominated colors in your design. It might also be that yellow will be the less dominated. This is how we can understand. It's not just be like you add other colors together, and the colors, they are not, there's no color that you can see and you can know that this one is dominating other kind of design. Even if it is white color, some designs, white color used to be the dominant color principle. Yellow color used to be the dominant color principle. And to be a professional graphic designer, you need to understand from the first concept, which is the harmony, to the balancing, to the hierarchy, to the scale and proportion, and also to the dominance, because you need to put things in their correct shape, in their hierarchy shape. I also need to put it in their color shape, how they are dominating the designs. Then in the next one, I'm going to be learning the similarities and contrast. The similarities and contrast. As I always say, design background, so as to we have the warm colors, we have the other kinds of color designs, other kinds of colors. There's a way in which you are going to make your designs to be vibrant. There's a way in which you are going to make your designs to look more encouraging. If you are designing a design, you must work more on the contrast, work more on what you need to be more dark and what you need to be more lighter. Definitely in designs is a combination of these two types of colors, or these two types of contrast. There must be a design that maybe the background will be more darker, and the things placed on the background will be the one that will be shedding the light, or maybe it will be the background that will be more lighter, and the things that will be placed on the background will be what will be bringing the contrast in the designs. And also the lines or the texture in which you are placing on the designs ought to be in proportion to the kind of design in which you are doing. What I mean is that if you are designing a dark background design now, and the design is a dark background, the texture in which you are going to be using to place on that must not be in any way a dark texture in which we still darken it more. If you are going to be placing any texture any way you want the design to feel, either it will be in a form of a grounded state, either the design will be in a form of a zip hazard state. What I'm trying to explain is that if we look at our road, we notice that the texture in which they used to create that ground, the road in which the tarred road, notice that texture can also be replicated in designs. And you need to understand the way you are going to be able to place all your textures and forms depending on the background contrast, depending on the background similarities. If the background similarity is dark, there is tendency that you don't need a higher texture to place on the background, because if you are following the rules and principles of an important similarity and contrast, it must be in a way that it will contain the primary and the secondary colors. There must be in a way that it will contain the darker and the lighter version of what you are talking about. The background might be in a bit darker, but if the background is dark and the text in which you are placing or the images you are placing on it is also dark, it will not bring out the best results. And if you are trying to understand the principle of design, you need to understand it that if you are placing something on a darker background, it needs to be a lighter component that you will be placing on a darker background. we are placing a texture on a darker background, it needs to be a soft texture. It not really need to be an hard lay or an hard texture that you place on a darker background, because you need it to be important. You need it to be attractive. And if you want your design to be attractive, these are the basic things you need to understand. We are going to be moving to typography. Now we've understood the principles of designs, which I will make quick recap in the principles of designs. We understand that firstly we need our design to be in harmony, we need it to be united, we need our designs to be balanced in a sense that there is no default there. Maybe one side is balanced and the other is not balanced. No, that's not a good design. If you are trying to be following the law of symmetry and asymmetry, you need, okay, the designs that are related to each other must be balanced, and the designs that are not related to each other, which are the asymmetry, must also be balanced, because the combinations of designs that are related to each other, the combination of the balancing of the designs that are related to each other will lead to symmetry. Then the asymmetry is the combinations of the symmetry design, the symmetry balancing. So let's say you balance everything together, you balance all the designs, that all the concepts that relate to each other. The asymmetry is now balancing the concepts that you balance that relate to each other, even though they do not relate to each other. Then we also understand the scale and proportion. We understand that we need to place, and we need we cannot be designing a proportion or a shape, let's say an A4 design on another proportion, on another orientation. We cannot be designing an A4 design on a social media design. We cannot be designing an A4 design on a flyer design. We cannot be designing an A4 design on a poster design or on a billboard. We need, if a client asks us any job, this will bring us back to how we can answer them more effectively, by first asking for the proportion in which and the scale in which they want to carry out this kind of designs. These designs must be in a scale that we represent and present what you are actually trying to achieve. You must know what your design is trying to achieve. If it's maybe the end result of your design will later end on the social media or end on the online design, the proportion and the scale in which you are going to use for these designs will be different from the scale in which you are going to use for the designs that will later end on the billboard. Because even the orientation, if it's going to be a landscape or the other orientation, must be there. Then we also understand hierarchy. We need to understand that in the way you are going to place your design, you must place it in base of importance and hierarchy. The designs in which you are designing has steps, they have layers. You cannot be designing and you are going to be placing the contact information more than the theme, or let's say more than what they are presenting. There's no way people will actually contact you if they don't know what you are trying to present. That's why you need to understand the sense of hierarchy. Whenever a design is brought to you, you need to understand that, okay, which one is more prominent, which one did users, because you are designing for the users, which one the users need to first see, which one did users need to first interact with, that will give them a clear-cut vision of how and what kind of program we are trying to portray. And this is a work of hierarchy. We also talk on other types of designs, which are the let me see the other types of design, the initial types of designs, the balancing, the hierarchy. You have the similarities, the dominance. I told you that the design must be dominating. You must have a color that is dominating the kind of color you are going to be using. You must have the text that will be dominating the kind of text you are going to be using. You must have something that will be dominating it. If you look at some design, you notice that the type of text that will be dominating it will be a sans serif text or font. In this sense, it means that the dominance of that concept, that visual component, is balanced. Because if you have different type of fonts coming coming together and it doesn't really sound, or it's not giving it the balance thing we need. We must understand that in any design you're going to do, there must be dominance in it. In the colors, there must be colors that will be dominating it, and there must also be similarities and contrast. If you are going to be placing something on a light background, it must be a dark element. If you want it to be very prominent, I want it to be visible. If it's something that I want to be visible, just like this typography is placed on a white background and the typography itself is a black background, you cannot be placing a light yellow font or a light yellow color on this white background and you expect it to be visible. If only you don't want your elements or your component to be visible, you can place it that way. But if you want it to follow the law of similarities and contrast, you need to be placing the components in an opposite manner. This opposite manner means that if you are placing something on a light background, it must be dark. If you are placing something on a dark background, it must be light. If you look at my shirt, notice that the cream there is a background, and what is placed on that cream is a deep or a dark. What is placed on the cream clothes, what is placed on this cream side is a dark background, and they are dark colors. So now we are going to be moving briefly into the terminologies, and that's why we are going to be studying more of typography and colors. In the paid weeks, we are going to study extensively on the typography and colors, but I would love us just to understand some basic terminologies in this typography. You've understood the terminologies about the principles of designs, and please don't forget them. Then the typography, in this sense, the typography deals with we have the sounds, we have the classifications of the typography. We have the sound, the serif font. If you notice the serif font, when anyone talks about a serif font, you need to understand that serif fonts are fonts that have the protruding curves. If you notice them, they are more of elegance. If you notice this kind of fonts, they are more of elegance. They are kind of elegant type of fonts, and as it said this way, it says it's best suited for printed logos, body copies, website, and titles. If it serves the purpose of the listed best suits for, you can use it. Every font needs to serve purpose in which is needed for. There are logos that cannot accommodate serif font, and there are logos that accommodate serif font. If you are looking for elegance company will prefer using serif font because they are more stylish, and when I say elegance, they are elegantly stylish. It means that it's not really in a way not coordinated. They are coordinated fonts, but they are stylish fonts. If you notice that they have the back line, they have balancing in the font, but they have stylish interface. They have stylish type of view, and these are the types of fonts which you can find in this same category. We have the Times Roman, we have the Gorgia, we have the Cambria, we have other types of fonts as the serif fonts. So next time you hear the word serif, you need to understand that they are fonts with protruding curves. And also, let us also check the other classifications of fonts so as to know their terminologies. The other classifications of fonts will deal with the sans serif font. This sans serif font deals more of in a form they are not protruding curves, and they are the end, the point of these fonts are always like rounded. The point of these fonts, they are not very sharp. If you want to note a sans serif type of font, at which is a type of the typography, the terminology in which we are going to be learning tonight, the sans serif type of font is the type of font which have rounded edges. All their edges is rounded, and these are also types of fonts in which you can see about them. Then we're also going to move into the slab serif font. This slab serif font, they are more of important, and the way they are viewed, the way they are the way they are viewed, you will notice that this font is we bring people more attention than other type of font. I told you earlier that fonts are used to serve purpose. Regardless of the type of font, you need it to serve purpose. So let's say you have a typeface in which you want to present. I want it to be to call the attention of other people. You can use this slab serif font, because in this slab serif font you get to see protruding curves, and these protruding curves, they are sharp. In the serif font, they are also protruding curves, but they are not they are slightly they are shaped in a way that is stylish. Then the sans serif, they have no protruding, which makes them round. They are not sharp in typeface. And this slab serif font, they are fonts that they have sharp edges. Also, we are going to be learning the other classification of font, which is the scripting font. These script fonts, they are fonts they are not stylish, but they are fonts in which they resemble handwriting fonts, and often is used for formal invitation. Let's say you are talking about let's put, maybe we are talking about an audition or a club activity, or let's say you are talking about an information that is not formal, that maybe we have a birthday party that we want to organize. You can use it there, but it will be very inaccurate of you to be, maybe you are designing, and your users will be company to company based users. They are using a scripting font that will not serve the purpose for the font. A scripting font is used like handwritings, and it's best suited for formal invitations, formal presentations, and formal typeface. We have other type of fonts in which is listed underneath. We have different type of fonts, like by black letters. We have the modern. We have the handwriting type of font. Is the type of font in which we look like your handwriting, a stylish handwriting. We have the monospaced type of font. It's just like the sans serif type of font, but it's more advanced and it's used to serve specific purpose. But these are the basic and the most important typeface in which you need to understand. You need to understand that there are fonts, there are serif, there are sans serif, there are slab serif, we have scripting, we have the handwriting, and we have the black letters. These scripting fonts, sans serif, they are the one with round edges. The serif are the ones with protruding curves, but they are stylish. Then the slab sans serif, they are the one with protruding curves, but they are very sharp. With this, I hope you get some important terminologies. In typeface, in typography. So these are the most important terminologies that you need in typography. And then we are going to be leading to the technicalities of a typeface, just to learn and to get the terminologies in them. If you are talking about anything leading, it means that the space from the first word, the space from the last word to the space of the end of the next word. So let's say is different from saying a caring or a caring terminology. This technicality, means that if they are talking about leading, it means that this is the space between the baselines, the lines upon which the end of the last line to the end of the next line. If you are talking about a leading technicality, and maybe in any way, in any organization, they say what is the length of the leading, because they might add the length of the leading to it. If you are working on a word based type, they might add the length of the leading to it. And also we are going to be studying the second terminology, technicality, which is the line length. There's a way in which you can extend the line length. There's a way in which you can construct the line length. If you are talking about the line length, it means that the distance occupied by text in these lines between the right and the left hand margin. This is the right and left hand margin. So the distance from this page to this page, this thing occupies 12 stones. So these 12 stones are arranged they are arranged in a way of alignment in which one is not greater than one, the space between one is not greater than the space between another. In this, when they are talking about the line length, it means that the distance from one line to another, the total line like this, it means the line length. And this line length can be contrasted and it can be expanded depending on what you need it for and depending on the purpose in which you need it to serve for. Then the next one we are going to be talking about now is the ken. The ken. This means that in every font there is different types of the ken, because if you are looking for a sans serif font, know that they are deeply in a way close to each other. If you are talking about a scripting font, they might also be deeply close to each other. But we are talking about some other stylish fonts. They might be far apart, and you might need them to be in that line and that white. As it said, this is the white space between individual characters, and many fonts come with a default scaling value. As I said earlier, these fonts have different values depending on the kind of font you are using. You might be using a font that the shapes, the length from the N to A will be longer than if you use another font which has the N to A. Depending on what you want to design and what you have in view will be how you are going to position or place your font. And the main essence of this particular discussion is so that we can show you the terminologies in typography, not really about the detailed meaning of typography, not really about the detailed meaning of typography. Then we are going to be talking about the tracking. Tracking is used to adjust the space. Tracking is used to adjust the space informality over a range of characters. So what this tracking means is that it deals with when they say justification, it deals with the alignment, and you can give your tracking a full justification. You can make it centered, you can make it left aligned, you can make it right aligned depending on the alignment, but it is used to adjust the space informality over the range of characters. If you are using a full justification for your text, it will be like the second text, which it in some way lack the tracking. Because there are multiple space in the second word compared to the first sentence. Everyone has something unpolished without artificial training. The space there is different from the one underneath. So if you want to justify and if you want to adjust this space, it is called tracking. We are going to be talking about in this way this anatomy part, they are not necessary part of the terminologies in which we need to learn, but let us learn it. Then we are going to start with the first anatomy. The first anatomy deals with the x height. This x height is the measurement of small letters. As it said there, it means that the small letters are quite different from the capital letters, and these small letters have different measurements compared to the capital letters. If you understand this terminology, you notice that in typography there is something called sans serif, there's something called serif, there's something called slab serif, there's something called the x height, there's something called the cap height. That cap height is the capital letter, the distance and the measurement of the capital letters. And also you get to understand that there's something called the ascender and the descender. As I was saying, you will notice that I was talking about the serif font. I said that the importance and the main difference from that sans serif to a scripting font is that a scripting font has an ascender and a descender. If you check the sans serif font which I was talking about, the capital letters, the capital values of the sans serif font, they are always equal. If you check their head, the top and the bottom, they are always equal in they are always equal in sizes. And this deals with the ascender and the descender anatomy of typography. The ascender deals with the part after the X height. So we have the X height, and this X height has it has two or more baselines. This has two or more baselines. We have the two baseline, and then what we are going to use to check the one that is unnecessary is that where these two lines meet, the topmost of these two lines, then the bottom of these two lines, from the top bottom up, it's called the ascender. From the meted line then to down, it's called the descender. Then also we are going to be studying about the close counter and the open counters. And these open counters and close counters depend on the type of font, depend on the type of letters in which you are using. We have some letter in which the close area of negative space, white line, formed by straight or a curved stroke, depending on the type of font in which, the type of alphabet, in which you are using. So you can get familiar with the close counters and the open counters, though they are not really important, but you need it, and they are basic things that will help you in your design journey. We have the crossbar, we have the strokes. This crossbar, they are as I said, the anatomy of these, they are in a way that to serve the purpose of the specific alphabet. If it's a short alphabet, it means that the kind of definition, the kind of name in which you are going to be pointing at in it will be X height and the cap height. If they are capital letters, you cannot really, in capital letters there is no the ascender and the descender. The only way you can see the capital letters are the only way you can see the ascender and the descender, they are the short letters, Then also in the crossbar, they are for the specific horizontal alphabet, and a stroke, they are for specific vertical diagonal lines. They are not really important, but you need to understand and know them, like the bows and leg is just for the short descending portion of a letter seen on K, R and Q. These are letters with they are not line like this, they are not straight like this, they are kind of descending in a slant form. And the bows is for a specific a closed stroke that the C is added to a particular alphabet. And you notice that all these have this kind of stroke, like a rounded, but it's not very radical. It's not like radical as it ought to be, but there are strokes in which you need to understand in typography. You have the terminal and the S. We have the spine and the arms. You have the shoulders and the airlines. Let me briefly talk on the shoulders and the airlines. I see that they are more important. These shoulders and the airlines, depend on the type of font in which you are using. If you are using a sans serif font, notice that you get to see fonts like this. If you are using a slab sans serif, you notice that the font in the slab sans serif, they are thick, and in all edges they have the same diameters. So if you are using, to understand the airlines is the thinnest strike of the letter form, and to understand the shoulder, it means that the curved part of a lowercase. We have the title, we have the arm. The arm is just like the airline. But it must be up. We have the stem, we have the body, and we have the apex, we have the vertex, and just try to understand all these terminologies. They are important terminologies that you need for your design. Then we are going to move into colors. The terminologies in colors. Okay. Let's talk on no. So I'm going to be talking on the first terminology, which is the color wheel. Those initial once I scrolled up, they are not terminologies, they are default names in which at least every human being ought to understand. When we are talking about the color wheels, is just like a periodic table. I would say in my own understanding that the color wheels are like periodic table. The issue of these tools goes way back to 17th century, and is essential for artistic and designers to know. You need to understand that these color wheels, they are closely related so as to make meaningful colors, so as to choose meaningful colors. There's a way in which you are going to choose the opposite color wheels that in this sense they will match each other. If you are looking at choosing the straight vertical color wheels, the upside and the downside must match each other. They designed and they created these color wheels specifically, and they created it systematically so as to serve the purpose. And when you see anywhere they are talking about color wheels, this is the terminology just to represent the color wheels. Then we have the primary colors, which which is red, blue, and yellow. We have the secondary colors, and these secondary colors, they are combinations of two or more primary colors. These secondary colors, they are combinations of two primary colors. We have the tertiary. The primary colors are combinations of two primary colors. The tertiary colors, they are combinations of maybe in a way a primary color and a secondary colors. And this is where we get to understand how the color wheels are created and how they are systematically formed. Notice that these colors are systematically formed in a way that they are not intersecting each other. Then let us talk about the color terminology that is created here. We have the tint, we have the hue, and the hue in general, color is used to refer to all well colors, including every kind of color. Is used to define, or is used to say this, or to generally term colors. So if you are talking about the hue, it means that talking about most of, in general, the colors. Then we are talking about the tint. This tint means that I said we are putting something on a dark background, we are putting anything on a dark background, it must be lighter. So this tint shows us that even though we have a dark purple in the color wheels, the dark purple, after fading for some time, it can still give us a lighter and a more brighter purple. So the tint is the lighter version of a given hue. So the hue is that general color, let's say green, for example. The tint is the lightest form of the hue. Then we are also going to learn the shades. This shade is the opposite of the tint, because in a way this shade is going back from the lightest form of color to the darkest form. So if we see the lightest form of green, we can determine and decide the darkest, how the darkest form of green will be like, by adding those colors together, adding the same colors together, or adding it with a dark color so as to bring out the darkest version of it. Then the tone is very similar because this tone deals more of white and black. Yeah, white and black from the hierarchy in which something is fading from the is increasing from the faded white to the darker version of it. Then we are going to also be studying about the warm various cool. Okay, the warm various cool, as I said earlier, if they talk about the warm colors, the warm colors are colors that they bring life. They are colors that they are vibrant. They are colors that they are living colors. And also we are going to be learning when they say RGB and CMYK. So we notice that we have the cyan, we have the magenta, we have the yellow, we have the black. So this cyan, magenta, yellow, black is the type of the subtractive color. The cyan, magenta, yellow, and black is what mostly they use as the combination of primary colors. And the primary colors are the RGB, while the cyan are the cyan, magenta, and yellow. They are the extraction of the primary colors. And then just for us to know, so that next time if we see anything like cyan, magenta, if we see anything like RGB, if we see anything like RGB, we see anything like CYMK, you understand that these designs, they are for cyan, magenta, and they are also for cyan, magenta, they are for black and all. There is also RGB, which is for red, green, and blue. So as to get familiar with these terminologies, it's very important that we learn the hexadecimal color code. The hexadecimal color code, they are the 6-digit color code. For every color to be produced, there is the addition of alphabet and numbers to bring out that specific color code. So let's say they give you a color in which you are going to use for a design by a company, and what they give you, they present it to you in an hexadecimal color code. What you need to do is just you need to copy the color code, look for it maybe on the Google. You can look for it on your color palette using your softwares or your design softwares, and after looking for it, you can get that exact color in which they are talking about. This is just a alphabetic and alphanumeric representation of your colors. In any way you cannot be able to get the specific colors, there's still an option in which you can use to get, which is called the hexadecimal color code. This color code will give you the exact color in which you need. So this will be a brief rounding up of what we have been doing so far. This will be a brief rounding up of what we have been doing so far. So far today we were able to learn about the principles of designs, and so far today we were able to learn about the easy and the most simple terminologies we need to understand about designs. However, I will be adding few terminologies we need to know about designs in the end of this video. I'll be saying them, but just to make a quick recap, we understood in this lesson that we have the principles of designs are divided into, there are more, but these are the basic and important type of principle, which is the 6 type of principle. We have the unity, we have the scale and proportion, we have the balance, we have the hierarchy, we have the hierarchy, we have the scale and proportion, similarities and contrast, we have the dominance. And if you understand these things work together. For a design to be great, it needs to be united. For a design to be great, there's a particular color that needs to be dominating each other. For a design to be great, there needs to be balance, either symmetric or asymmetric. For a design to be great, there needs to be similarity and contrast. There is not just be like everything will be dark. Even if most of the things are dark, important things that need to be revealed must be placed on a dark background and a white overlay. So you must be placing a white text or a white shape or a white image on something that is dark, so as to bring out the proper and best presentation. So this is about the principles of design, and the easy terminologies in which we learnt is that the terminologies we learnt about designs, we learnt the typography forms of terminologies, which is sans serif. We learnt about slab sans serif. We learnt about the serif font, and we know that these ones have the included. We have the scripting. We have also black letters. We have the handwriting fonts. We have other types of fonts. We learnt about leading, and we learnt that leading is this is the font, this is the first font, then the end of this first font and the end of this my last font is called the distance between the end of this first font and the end of this last font is called the leading. So if to say I want to bring them in, if I want to distance them, there's a way in which I will do it. That okay, I'll be working on the leading. I'll be working on how to increase the leading. They say increase the leading, it means that increase the baseline in the distance from the end of the first font to the end of the last font. Then we also learned about the line spacing. We learned about how we can bring full justification, how we can do the central justification, how we can learn about the left justification. Just so you know, let me briefly talk about the justification of a font. So you have the full justification. It means that every font must be stopping here and be ending, must start here and stop here. Only fonts that are not more than the central line will not stop here. Fonts that are up to the central line must start here and stop here. That's the full justification. But left justification deals more on every font must end here. Even if they don't stop here, they need to, even if they don't meet this wall, every font must be justified to this left. In the right one, every font must be justified to this right. In the center one, every font must be justified to the center. And because of this, you can decide the length of this spacing, the line spacings. When we have the tracking, and we also have the other x height, cap height. We have the x height, cap height. We have uppercase. We are talking about uppercase and lowercase. Uppercase means the capital letters, while lowercase means the shorter letters. They have the ascender, which the ascender can be attributed. The ascender and the sender can be attributed to the lowercase, because these ones are the ones that have extreme, or they have other strokes on top. For a capital letters, they don't have stroke. They are always balanced on top and balanced in the down. So for capital letters, it doesn't need to do with any ascender or descender. The small letters need to do more of ascender and descender. We have the close counter, open counters. We have other bars, strike bars. We have the airlines. We have bow's leg. We have the terminus. You can go over the course so as to learn more about how these things are. We have the title, we have the stem, we have the body, and also we are going to move into the color. So color, we have the terminologies in color. These terminologies in color deals more of the hue. We have the tints, we have the color wheels, primary colors, RBG, and so on. And most importantly, we have the color, the hexadecimal color code. So this will lead to the end of today's course, and I'm happy that you're able to join this course from the beginning to the end. I'm happy that you're able to learn so much great things about the terminologies and the principles of design. So this will be what we are going to be doing for tomorrow, because tomorrow we are not going to be having an online class or a live class. What we are going to be doing tomorrow is that we are going to be having an assignment in which we need to carry out tomorrow. So tonight and tomorrow, if you have not been added to the group in which I spoke about yesterday, please comment in the comment box and make sure we add you, because the execution of the assignment will be carried out tomorrow. We are going to be releasing the softwares tomorrow, and we are going to be making sure that every of the students and participants download this software tomorrow. So what you are going to be doing tomorrow as an assignment is that we are going to be dropping the link whereby you get to visit all these stuffs, where you get to see all these softwares, and then yours is to download. That will be the assignment for tomorrow. Yours is to download. just is to download. And when you are done downloading, on Friday we are going to talk on how we can install them, and if you have problem on how we can install them, we will solve everything on Friday. And on Friday we'll be asking questions, making interviews, asking you what you learned so far, and the submission of the assignment in which we are going to be giving. So this assignment is a simple assignment. If you are not yet on the group, ask for the group link, and if you are on the group, we are going to be dropping the link whereby you get to download the resources. And the assignment you have tomorrow is that what you need to do is to download the resources. I appreciate your time and commitment put in place to watch this video from the beginning to the end. I really appreciate you, and my best wishes. Good luck on your design journey, and we meet at the top. Goodbye.